Time now for Stugotz's weekend observation.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Vivid Seats. With the Vivid Seats app, it's easy to find awesome seats to any game. Download the app and enter promo code CHAMPS at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Dan, not certain anyone is paying attention to what's going on down under, but it appears that U.S. tennis is back. Actually, I wrote this before Nadal won in straight sets. Dan, U.S. tennis is back to being irrelevant. Irrelevant is what I tried to say. How about that Cespedes, though?
Are you okay?
I just called him Cespedes.
Wow, you are rattled.
No, I am. I am rattled from that one right there. Irrelevant. That's an easy word for me, and I got it wrong there.
And
so now I'm rattled and Cespedes.
You just called Tsitsipas
I know.
Cespedes.
Anyway, how about him?
The Greek?
We tried to tell you. You weren't listening. Call me crazy, but I think the United States has better Mexican food than Mexico. How about that?
Put it on the poll, please. Does the United States have better Mexican food than Mexico?
That's right.
Antonio Brown thanking Steeler fans while saying this is not a goodbye when we all know it's a goodbye. Antonio, the Stugotz is strong in you. I'm serious. The Rams should trade Todd Gurley. I can't believe I've arrived at a place in my life this past weekend sitting at a dead show in the VIP area 5 feet from the ocean with George R.R. Martin, who was wearing a Jets hat and called Adam Gase old googly eyes. That's the first thing he said to me. What do you think of old googly eyes?
Great expression.
Dan, that Andy Reid worst nightmare thing I was telling you about last week, it happened.
Yes, it did.
Congratulations to Jared Goff. And if you also saw his girlfriend, you'd know I'm not talking about making the Super Bowl. Not sure who's better looking, his girlfriend or his coach. Drew Brees, bust. The L.A. Rams made it to the Super Bowl despite Sean McVay. The Kansas City Chiefs should consider a retractable roof. They are going to win the Super Bowl riding Sony Michel, James White, and Philip Dorsett. I hate them. Sony Michel, athletes who can own electronics, Atari Bigby, Eli Apple, Mac Brown, Saints, Rams, worst no call in the history of the NFL. Nickel Robbie Coleman says after the game, quote, "Hell yeah, that was PI. I just got there before the ball got there, and I whacked his ass." Is the greatest quote in the history of sports. L.A. Lakers falling apart. Greg Zuerlein, clutch. Greg the Leg, Legatron. Want to know how good the Pats Chiefs game was? 44 combined points, 4 lead changes, 5 touchdowns, plus a field goal, and that was just the fourth quarter and overtime.
So good.
Dan, this is next level stuff. See if you can stay with me. I'm pretty certain the Patriots chose to be the second seed so they could call the coin toss in overtime. How about that? Next level stuff. Well, listen, when you catch up and you get there, just let me know. We'll revisit it.
I mean,
okay?
he is ahead of everybody. And I believe he did give those victories to Patricia and Vrabel in order to get to the 2 seed so he could have the advantage of the coin toss in overtime.
Nothing better describes professional football in 2019 than Gene Steratore and Mike Pereira being more important to the broadcast of their games than Jim Nantz and Joe Buck. Speaking of Jim Nantz, he hates Tony Romo. Sean Payton, while you continue to cry about the no call, I'll remind you, at home, up 13-0, Hall of Fame quarterback, no Todd Gurley, and you have the ball first in overtime. Do me a favor. Move on. Tony Romo finally showed up for a big game. What happened? What happened? If the no-call play happened off the field, nickel Robbie Coleman might be looking at 30 days in prison.
Felony charges.
Since Dan said Tom Brady was done in 2010, I marked it down. He has thrown for 35,770 yards, 256 touchdowns, 68 interceptions, made it to 5 Super Bowls, won 2, and has a chance to win a 3rd.
That's some creative bleeping math.
What do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. By the way, that's more yards and touchdowns than Troy Aikman and Steve Young had for their entire careers. Sorry, man.
You're not sorry.
No,
You're
really
just,
not.
you just went to the prime of his career and said, I've been saying that he's been done since he's 30.
Yeah, I marked it down, man. This year's recipient of the Andy Reid Can't Win the Big One award is Andy Reid. Death, taxes, and Bill Belichick having 3 timeouts at the end of a half. Chief fans, they get all the calls. They get all the bounces. I face them 2 times per season. I hear you. My sense is Dan likes the Rams over the Patriots. Don't do it, Dan. Don't think about it. Don't you dare say it. I care about you. Hey, McVay, can't be go-for-it guy and shrivel up in a big spot. Sean McVay, I've got my eyes on you. D'Angelo Russell, starting to live up to the hype. Indiana Pacers, quietest 31-15 start in NBA history. Jimmy Buffett, do me a favor. Stick to cheeseburgers and margaritas. Thanks. The Bulls traded for Carmelo Anthony and cash. At least they got cash. Shame. What happened there? I don't know. Shame on Fox for going to an overhead shot of the Superdome while Michael Thomas was having a wardrobe malfunction. Julian Edelman would be as likely to tell you the truth about whether or not he touched that football as I would. Bill Simmons, take your Boston Demons and shove them where the sun don't shine.
Wow.
Oh, he's going to watch the Super Bowl with John Hanna and Steve Grogan?
Wow.
Mosey Tutupu?
At LeBatard Show on Instagram and Twitter, age of the person who says, shove it where the sun don't shine.
If I'm it's Jerry Jones. If I'm Jerry Jones, I give Romo whatever he wants to coach the Cowboys. Patrick Mahomes, do it in a big game. Darren McFadden was arrested at a Whataburger. I'm hearing, upon being put in the cop car, he pulled his hamstring and is now out 2 to 4 weeks. Even if D Ford was on sides, the Patriots would have won. Congratulations to Tony Romo for finally making it to a Super Bowl. Alex Smith, 2 playoff wins. Patrick Mahomes, 1. Andy Reid, you'll always have the Waffle House. We're going to applaud Sean McVay for benching the best running back in football because he had a feeling. Did it ever dawn on anyone that McVay did that on purpose so you would applaud him? I've got my eyes on you, McVay. La Playa Beach for a concert is heaven on earth, something Art Briles wouldn't know about because he lives in hell. Dan, those are the weekend observations.